Hello friends, I'm Colonel Failure and welcome back to Motorsport Manager with Bulldozer Power. In the last race, some may say that it was over-exuberance by Nicholas Hazel, others may say that it was perhaps a dubious strategy when it came to fuel management, but either way, we blew quite a nice position in the last lap when Hazel ran out of fuel and ended up finishing in 14th. Silvera there coming in 13th in order to preserve the sponsorship bonus that has saved us a little bit of cash. As you can see, both drivers still making some good headway with regard to stats, but I've yet to observe their actual number increasing by much. Vanessa, it looks like, could level up focus relatively soon. Adaptability is a possibility as well. Hazel, on the other hand, again, focus is possible. Nothing else is really close in the slightest. So confirming the results from the last race, and Hans 00 takes the number 1 spot ahead of Espen Roe and P. Ruto. That puts Roe out in front, but 00 is now closing in with Price from Vexala in 3rd. Meanwhile, back in 12th, Silvera there is staying in somewhat contention for a top 10 finish maybe, with Hazel also kind of hanging on to the position he's got right now. I think 15th is possible for Hazel if he manages to buck his ideas up, but for the team overall, 9th is ours. We own it. We're not going anywhere. We're going to finish in 9th, which is okay because that's what we forecast we'd do. So the next race is going to be in Guildford. Right now the forecast is for something rainy in practice, and then the race will be blazing sunshine. But since that's 24 days away, an awful lot can happen before then. So we're not going to put any stock in this particular forecast. Top speed and cornering is looking like being absolutely crucial for this one. So we'll put our development focus in that area. Meanwhile, in the inbox, I've got Simon Higgins from XBC Sports asking if I've got time for a few questions, or as is so often the case, a question. After needing to make some hasty repairs to Hazel's brakes in the pits, is it a sign you're not focusing enough on your car's reliability? I'm focusing outright on car reliability right now. My mechanics need to get there. I'm not going to diss the mechanics, they're fine. I'm doing a great job, my mechanics are doing a great job. We simply need more funding for a better factory, Kurt. Yeah, Kurt's hacked off with us already because he just gave me £1.5 million. But frankly, you know, if he wants better results, he can find himself some deeper pockets. Meanwhile, Michel Dupont from Motorsportif reports the results that I already covered. 00 pushed to his limits during the race in Munich, pulling off a number of daring overtaking manoeuvres. The Garuda Racing driver eventually came out on top, with Roe finishing in 2nd and Ruto rounding out the podium. Winning Garuda Racing boss Rebecca Beatty collected the team's trophy and looked delighted as she downed the champagne. So Gary's back and he's finished fixing the cars, which means it's time to actually go and have a look and see what we're working on right now. So we're working the performance up on the engine, and apparently that will max out just before the race, but frankly maxing out is only at 108 anyway, so that, I mean, it's not anything to write home about really. And as we saw in the last race, performance from the new engine here is actually pretty respectable. I don't want that kind of balance. Is there? See, look, we could get everything done before the race. Topping out both engines, which will be nice. Topping out reliability on the best set of brakes we've got and the best engine we've got. That's got to be a good thing. And that will then give us, well, actually give us an extra few days in order to look to improve something else that we're packing. This seems like a sound strategy to me. I could probably tinker around with it more and get better results, or I could put additional things in now and take those to the edge as well. So suspension is going to be fairly critical for this one, given that we want fast corners, and our suspension's pretty awful. Let's go to the design team here and see what a new set of suspension will cost us, because I don't know, I can't remember how many races we've got to go, but it's not many. 4 races to go. It costs me in the region of 700 grand per race. I've got 4 million in the bank. And if I recall correctly, I've got a sponsorship round now. So I can definitely afford to create a new part. I want to create at least one, probably the engine, ahead of the start of the new season that I shall go ultra risky on, in order to start the next season with a bit of a head start, as it were. So for the best part of, well, I guess it's going to be $1 million in total, we can get some better suspension made, and I think it's going to be well worth our while. Medium speed corners, we'll take it. We've got 2 slots in total. What else have we got here? Plus 40 to medium speed corners during qualifying. Well, that's no flipping good. I need them during the race. Extra build time, I can live with that. Medium speed corners 15 less reliability, or medium speed corners 15 to max and plus 20. Right, we'll take it. That's where I'm going with that one. Total cost 190 grand, and it'll be done in 4 days. Let's do it. Money well spent. Hopefully the sponsors will come through and save my bacon, but we'll have to wait for them to turn up at the front door. So Carlota Marquez for JTV Sport is reporting that the vote that we're going to have next week is going to be on the length of races. Interesting. Longer race will likely aid the stronger teams in the championship, as the longer timeline should allow the cream to rise to the top. I'd prefer to see longer races, says Fabio Torino, the former ERS driver who is no longer relevant. There are no hiding places in a long race, and anything that allows the best teams to show their quality can only be a good thing. Interesting. I will have to chew that one over before I vote. Meanwhile, sponsors have arrived. Right, we've got 2 offers in for slot 3. And what are we looking at? 1.2 million up front. 880 bonus if we finish second or better. Well, we're not going to accept that, but 1.2 million up front. Well, that's my suspension covered in one hit. But as ever, we will wait until we've got all 3 offers in place before we make a decision on that one. Meanwhile, in slot 5, $750,000 up front. Yeah. Target position of 9th. Okay. And a bonus of 450 if we finish in that target. So it looks like I could be walking away with a couple of million quid off the back of this sponsorship round, and that's a very good thing. So the WMC has now run its 10th round in the Ardennes, and Jens Bergman, a name we have not previously heard, languishing as he is in 8th place for Catano Sport, finishes top, with Avalos, the current championship leader, in 2nd, and Sonny Neal, another new name, who, if we look at the chart there, is down in 10th, finishing in 3rd. That has clearly propelled Neal quite healthily up the table, but it was where's Johnson? Johnson, who is currently in 2nd, only managed a 13th place finish. Quite a disaster there for the Scuderia Rossini driver. That puts the Panther race team well out in front, and frankly, I don't think, even with 6 rounds to go, that they're going to be able to be beaten. So we've had our 3rd offer in for slot 3, and Wanderluck have come in with a lackluster offer of 100 grand plus 650. I mean, I'd have to be some kind of chump not to take the Northern Harbour offer there. So we're gonna secure that right now. And then for slot 5, we've now got 2 of the 3 potential offers, and we've had who's this? Yandamol Media. Another, bum of the month club kind of a sponsor, offering nothing, and then 500 grand if we manage to finish in 8th. Well, I'm not going to be taking that. Wan Chai currently ahead, and we've worked with those guys before. They know what I'm about. Meanwhile, in the inbox, the new vote has now started for the GMAs. Let's have a look here. The standard race length up to 31 from whatever it is now would possibly be handy to know what it is now. I think overall it won't benefit low quality teams. So I am not a low quality team. I think we're going to vote in favour. Voting power. Really? Have I got 3 votes in this one? Oh. Interesting. Right, I'm going to vote for with 2 votes. Might be wasting a vote here given that more teams lose out than benefit, but I'm going to try it anyway. There we go. Votes are coming in. I'm there with my 2. That's 1 against, 1 abstention. Harvey's in. Martino is in. Hugo is abstaining. Carmen, not so interested. Vincent is against, and it looks like it's going to pass. It has passed. Longer races next season. So reliability is going to be even more critical than it arguably is already. So Big Ernie Heckle Rock is back in my mailbox and it has been approved. The next vote in 56 days. If we have a look at the rule screen, short practice sessions, 27 laps right now. So upping to 31 is going to, well, it's not going to make that much of a difference. 60 pit lane speed, 6-man pit crews makes it cheap. But pit stops happen sequentially, meaning slower pit stops. Standard merit payments, 100% top and bottom. Okay, points for all drivers. Well, that's fun. I like points for all drivers. Allows me to feel like I'm achieving something even if I finish in last. And then a whole bunch of other rules as well. Yeah, good. That's pretty exciting stuff. Well, I mean, yes, just going to affect us the way it affects us, right? Smashing Freddy's reporting back, and our new suspension is done. The performance isn't perhaps as good as I'd hoped it might be. 97 out of 125, so-so, I suppose. Reliability, however, is a bit of a concern, and we won't be able to use it unless we can jam in a little bit more reliability ahead of the race. If we have a look and see how we're progressing over here in the workshop, our best brakes are now up to 92%. That should be fine. Our better engine is up to 88. I'd be tempted to leave it, but to be honest, I'd rather max it out so that there was no room for doubt in the slightest. Meanwhile, we'll stick the suspension into both sides. I know, pretty dangerous stuff there, and we'll see what we can accomplish out of it. I'll drop the lower engine out. What can we accomplish here? All right, if I stick everybody over that side, we can max out performance, and there is no way we can max out that side. So if I took the good engine out, what are we looking at then? 1 day after the race for max reliability, 14 days after the race. That should, let's go a bit further, about 11. But there, what about that? Something like this. One more. There we are. I feel comfortable with that. So that should get a reasonable amount of performance into the engine, a decent amount of performance into the new suspension, and the new suspension should be reinforced, one would hope, to the point that it's not going to fall off the car. Is there anything else right now that needs a bit of spit and polish? We've got 2 sets of brakes that could probably do with a little bit more time being worked on, but I'm okay with that as it is. The reliability is absolutely fine. The 2 engines, reliability, pretty good, if I'm honest. The gearboxes, both are looking pretty good, although we could spend some more time investing in performance. And then suspension, the new set needs, well, it is being worked on. And the second set looks reliable enough to complete this next race, but to be honest, it's not that great as far as performance is concerned. So I'm going to immediately design another new part. I know, I'm throwing caution to the wind here, and I think we'll possibly go for more suspension. Really? Am I drinking crazy juice here? Let's have another quick look at. Oh, we got another sponsor offer in. Hold on. What do we got? Nothing up front. 500 grand a race. Don't care. Wan Chai still leading the way. Chiffle Not doing anything better, we will take Wanchai's offer. Thank you very much. I want to build one risky part before the end of the season, and I'd quite like to get one other usable part as well. And I think I've probably got the budget to do that. So let's get the design team here. What do we want? Do we want suspension? I'm not pleased with the suspension I've got. Brakes, we could do more with brakes. It's going to be 2 million quid for an engine. Right? Don't forget that. Let's go with suspension. I think cornering may help us out quite a bit. So we'll go the same again. We'll take the medium corners there. I'm not interested in qualifying speed. We'll take the extra build time on the medium corners here, and then we either go risky, reduce the red zone. I don't care. I want performance all the time. Performance is what I'm interested in. So we either go risky with it, which, let's face it, I mean, that might not be the worst thing in the world. In which case we'd probably take that one, right? Medium speed corners plus 50. No, I think if you've got any sense in the slightest, you take that one. There we go. So that ups the max range there to 175, which is pretty good. It's a shame that I don't have the facilities to build great parts, but we will take good ones. This is going to be £1 million worth of cost, and I'm all about that. All I have to remember is don't put it on a car, because I will be a very sad individual if that ends up being banned ahead of next season. Kurt's back in my mailbox, having forgotten the mail he sent just recently to point out that once again we are still right on our target for the season. Anna has turned up with her race report for Guildford. It's going to be a 23-lap race, 20% chance of rain on the Sunday. Well, that means it's going to be tipping it down almost certainly. Before we get to our scouting reports, Freddie is bleating on about the telemetry centre once again. Right, Keris Young could be one of the weakest drivers within the European Racing Series. Her potential's good though, and given the chance to improve, she could certainly become one of the better drivers in the championship. Keris's best quality is her focus, but she has a hard time with her cornering. Show me what that means in terms of, my goodness me, she's utterly I don't have the words. I don't have the words for just how bad a driver she really is. She's fearless, but hopeless, and likes to meditate. Good. Do you want to pay me to drive? No? In which case, you're not hired. There we go. So that's that bit of scouting out of the way. Let's stick someone else in the ringer there. So we're looking for expiring contracts so that we can consider who we might possibly be interested in hiring next season. What do we got here? General Four-star. Blimey. Look at this guy. Well, there's no way I'm going to get him to drive for me. He is way too good, and I've already scouted him. Who we got next? Eva Blasi. Also looks very, very good. What a Dark Fibreru. Overtaking could be completely hopeless. Right, we're gonna get some scouting in on there on Dark. We'll just have to see how that goes. But between adaptability, smoothness, consistency, and fitness, who knows? And maybe that feedback score is also pretty positive. And if she's the kind of driver who will pay you just to be part of the team, then I can see a contract coming her way. So the Asia Pacific Super Cup has finished its 8th round. Carlo T. Curious once again taking the win, with Frida Fischer and Craig Smith rounding out the podium. That puts Curious 4 points ahead at the top of the table. Wolfbite, who went off to a bright start this season, hasn't really made much of a showing. And Carlos C. Otti for Team Kirov, who was quite the force last year, has not really been present on the podium this season. So pre-race gossip from Hank Lippman at World Sports Network. Espen Rowe is going in at the top of the standings. David McNamara I've never heard of. Isn't expecting it to go well to see this change. Can't see 00 making up too much ground. Rowe is driving too well. 3 races to go to the end of the season. Rapidly approaching crunch time. Espen Rowe claims he's not feeling the pressure of being the man to catch. Doesn't bother me at all, to be honest, says the Ozu Motor Team man. Meanwhile, Silver Racing's Megahertz is hoping for an upturn in the team's fortunes this weekend. We're not expecting a podium, but I'm confident of scoring a few points in the United Kingdom. The good news is, of course, that even by finishing the race, you score a few points. In fact, even by crashing out of the race, it is possible to score a few points as long as you don't finish last. Sophia's back with another scouting report. Anna Pag. Anna would be a below-average driver in a European racing season. It's probably not worth staking a huge amount on her potential for improvement as she's operating near the limits of her driving ability. Anna's best talent is her adaptability, but her consistency is her biggest shortcoming. Let's have a look and see what that means for actual numbers. Bandit feedback. Good. Thanks, Anna. Now we know exactly who you are. We know that we don't exactly want you on the squad. So let's have a look. Adrian Earl, Dark Fibreru. I thought I put you into... You're being scouted already. Okay, good. What else have we got going on here? Let's try and not make the pop-up happen every single time. Norman Napoleon. Possibly a little too good. Too much tech. Yeah, all right. Let's have a look and see what too much tech is going to turn up for us. We'll find out in due course. Meanwhile, we are now going to be heading off to Guildford, so it's time to outfit the cars as best we can. I'm going to go with the Golden Tiger again for the bonus pool, 200 grand, which will be very welcome indeed, should we finish in 13th or better. Wang Chai's 9th or above. Seems achievable, but not yet. Based on the 13th or above, we would have landed that twice out of the last 3 races. So I believe I have every right to be somewhat confident. Let's have a look at the parts here. I'm going to stick with the young man. The young man is going to get the better car this race. Vanessa's properly hacked off because she's supposedly our number 1 driver and she's not really getting a look in. Let's fit some parts here. Right, so with brakes wise, Hazel needs the better brakes because he's hopeless at it. I'm fine with that. Engine, sorry, apologies for all the pop-ups all over the place. We'll give the good engine to Hazel, and Silvera can have the not quite as good engine. When it comes to gearbox, we'll do the same again. I want the aggressive young man really harnessing the dark side and getting it done. Our new suspension, 109 on the performance scale with 80 reliability. That's what we want to see, which means we can also up the quality for Silvera a little bit. Hazel is saying against the other cars, good, overall not. Well, we are making improvements, but the question is how fast are we actually gaining on the other drivers in this conference? So we're ready to go. We're off to Guildford for the next Grand Prix. Why don't you see us there? So Anna's forecast made last month was completely off target. It's a beautiful sunny day in Guildford, as the golf course in the middle is clearly full of those who like a bit of golf. We'll obviously set out the drivers as we're expecting to do so. We're running super softs, but let's get the car setups tinkered with ahead of takeoff. We'll just reduce the downforce a little bit on Hazel's car, give him the optimum ability to get round there. What we've got, handling is way out of whack, so let's bring it way into whack. Understeer apparently is the order of the day. That seems like an awful lot of suspension stiffness, if you ask me. Very, very stiff suspension. Glad that I invested in getting that done. And we'll put him on the outer edge of top speed. Meanwhile, we're running on, thank you, we're running on soft rather than super soft tyres. I'm questioning whether that's the right way to go, because obviously this is going to aid his speciality in the race. I think we'll stick with it. Being able to stay out for an extra lap or two can't do anything but help. Meanwhile, for Vanessa, she's actually looking for more top speed than acceleration, which is maddening. Again, understeer is the order of the day, so we'll crank that. We'll give her 88% on that as well, while adjusting the downforce downwards. That's probably more than we need there. About 16. What do we think? So how do we feel about 16? I feel good about 16. I hope you do too. Speed balance. Speed balance. There we go. 56. Terrific. Well, with the tyres selected, the car's set up. Let's send them out and get it done. I'm hoping for big things. Go on, off you go. Yeah, I've already confirmed all of this. This is the most redundant part of team management, is confirming everything that you just confirmed again. So we're off. Let's up the tempo. I'm not even going to follow Hazel. He can do his own thing this race. I'm hoping that those parts we've given him help us to get results. I'd like to see a performance from Silvera, but to be honest, I don't really know. I couldn't tell you. So this is a very short practice period, and hopefully we'll be able to get the kind of feedback that will enable us to make the right changes to the car. I'm tempted to... Well, no, actually, I've already missed that opportunity. So we're going to follow a standard bit of format here, bring them in nice and early to make a few changes. Well, the feedback from both drivers so far has been that they are absolutely loving the way the cars are set up. Now, I doubt very much that we'll be completely perfect, but if we're close, this could mean that we can leave them out on the track to get a heck of a lot of practice in. Right, so from Silvera, she feels that the downforce is great, the handling is excellent, and the speed balance is only good. That's still pretty good for a first-time run-out. So what do you want? More downforce, less downforce? It's a tough question. Let's go for a little bit less downforce, right? Give her a bit more top end. Let's try that. No, let's not mess with it too much at all. There we go. We were at 26. If we go to that's 26 and 16. If we go 15.8 and 28.8, that's just a nudge, maybe 0.7. There we go. I don't want to tweak that too much. If we nudge the gear ratios just slightly more towards top speed while leaving the handling as close to the hell alone as possible, that would be beneficial. Right, tyre choice. The soft tyre is still looking pretty punchy. Let's get her out. Meanwhile, his Hazelness, he's not pleased with the downforce. He wants more downforce. The handling he's loving, the speed balance he's not. Well, we can certainly work with that. So again, we'll take this to 15.7 and 25.7 to match his teammate, who is, let's face it, better at the feedback. The gear ratios we will also adjust in a downward motion. What do we think? 63. Now we're going to want to tweak the handling. I don't want to do that. So what can the fiddling with a bit of camber do? All right. Camber fiddled with. Gear ratios, a little bit more acceleration, a little bit less top speed. Let's just make sure I haven't done something completely stupid there. It looks good. Let's get him back out. Now, depending on what the weather's actually like in the race, the choice to go on the soft rather than super soft tyres might be a mistake, because the faster drivers out there are definitely going to be running super softs. But a lot depends on how fast these tyres wear and whether we're going to have to switch to intermediates at some point due to the weather. As you can see already, Finger Puppet, having set the fastest time so far, is on the super softs. Silvera is very pleased with the gear ratios. Well, thank you very much. I set them myself. And we're now on a flying lap, and I might actually let them complete the flying lap just to set a time to see what sort of competitiveness we are setting here. As we follow Hazel round, I would hope that we can get something out of this practice session that gives the sort of nudge that would suggest that we're in the right area. So Silvera's halfway around a flying lap, and it's just started raining. She'll get round before the track becomes untenable, but this is not going to be a fast time as the track becomes slippery. As you can see, the water on the track is building up pretty quickly, and she's going to struggle to set what you might describe as a blistering pace, but she will at least record a finished lap. So Silvera's coming in, obviously being low on fuel. We'll ease off here because I don't want her to burn all the time she has left on. Well, you can do what you like with the tyres, but ease off on the fuel there, Chief. And same for Mr. Hazel. So Hazel recorded fast enough to finish 16th, but remember, of course, that the track was pretty soggy there, as another car there drives immediately through Silvera's. Hazel's run out of fuel, but that's becoming his trademark. Hopefully I'll be able to get him in and back out again enough just to put a final tweak on the car. Silvera, let's have a quick look here. Lots of knowledge now. Excellent downforce, excellent handling, excellent speed balance. This is the first time we've had a triple excellent this season. She's good to go. Let's get her back out pronto. Fresh tyres, nothing else. Get back to work. Meanwhile, in comes Hazel, and he's reporting excellent downforce, excellent handling, great speed. Again, I'm going to leave that alone. Stick him back on wet tyres, which seems to be the order of the day, given that the track has turned into a swimming pool, and we'll stick him back out as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, give it everything you've got, guys. Just enjoy it. We've got the car pretty much as good as it can possibly be. We don't have enough time to record a lap here, but as far as car tuning is concerned, I couldn't ask for more. So there we go, confirming those lap times. Now, I'm not too bothered about finishing low down, as it had started to rain on the flying lap there, but 16th and 18th overall, a gnat's whisker between the pair of them in terms of actual times. Finger Puppet setting the fastest lap time at 1:25. We're a good 4 seconds slower than that. So heading over to Twitter, because I'm a glutton for punishment, from Romina Fabila, Bulldozer Power, I just bought a shirt with Vanessa Silvera's name on it. So cool. It would be cool if she won, ever. Channel 6, Jonathan Weinstein, Colonel Failure must be a worried man after that practice session. I'm not. Nicole Winston, pretty lame practice session there from Bulldozer Power. Disconsolate face, which is the name for that emoji now. And then the Gazzetta dei Motori with Lisa Amorosi. Looks like Plastic is driving well this weekend. Wonder if that can continue into the race. Depends which Plastic you're talking about. If you're talking about Swans, I think she finished bottom overall. So it's race day. It's slightly overcast. If we can get a 13th place finish, that'll be very, very welcome as we get a 200 grand bonus. But as ever, nothing is certain. So we get super soft tyres wear more slowly, or a performance increase on soft tyres. Race trim, obviously, we're going to take. Tricky. That's actually quite a tricky decision to make. I think we will gamble on not having to come into the pits quite so often and taking the performance increase versus having a performance increase that wears more slowly. I mean, that's what we're going to chance. Probably both drivers, now that I think about it. And that's intermediates anyway, right? So, there we go. Soft tyres. Soft. Not this one. No. This one. Yes. There we are. Intermediate tyres. Couldn't care less. Although we will just check the weather forecast. No rain is forecast for the first 4 laps. With the car set up, we're not going to do any better than we've already got. There is the potential to tweak Hazel's car a little bit more, but I'm going to leave that the hell alone. We will set both cars out on an aggressive... Well, we'll put Hazel on an aggressive opener. We'll put Silvera on a standard one. And that's purely because Hazel's special move is overtaking. And he's as bold as you like. So Mush and Swans Plastic on the front of the grid with Nicholas Hazel and Reverend Plastic immediately behind. Then on the third row, it's Chris Shaw and Mega Hertz. Everyone is running super soft tyres. I'm starting to look like a bit of a Burke. Salmon A. Longo and Sean Mendez ahead of Vanessa Silvera and Maiko Kitasatu. Vanessa is on the wrong tyres. After all that, I've put them out on the wrong tyres. I bet I've done Hazel wrong as well. I've even stopped reading the names off the lineup because I've hosed this before we've even started. What the heck was I thinking? Let's have a look. Hazel, wrong tyres. Double check the tyres. Always check the tyres twice. It's too late. I can't do anything about it. We're going to go out on super soft tyres that they have no expertise in whatsoever. So this is a disaster. We're going to lose this race from the grid. And Hazel's away, immediately taking second, because that's what he does. But ahead of him, Steve Mush's really nailed the opening there. Heck of a move from Steve Mush. We're going to ease off on the tyres immediately with Hazel because they're not going to last very long. So any thought of doing a lengthy out strategy as far as tyres are concerned, just not going to happen. It's not a thing. So I might as well stay on it as far as the engine is concerned to try and go as fast as possible. And while it is the worst drivers that start at the front of the grid, Steve Mush is putting up a decent pace. Other drivers are having a tough time catching up, and Hazel's sticking with him so far as we up the tempo. Silvera there dropping to 10th, possibly getting involved in some kind of overtaking fracas. She does tend to lose her mind a little bit when the traffic picks up. But as long as she is hanging on in there and not dropping like a stone, I'm fine with that. In third place, this looks like Reverend Plastic there has now taken Hazel, and there goes Sean Mendez, who are significantly faster. I mean, look at that. It's like we're driving different cars, which is probably because we're driving different cars. But having brought a Ford Fiesta to a race involving the BMW 5 Series as the stock car, somehow I don't think we were ever going to be competitive, as Hazel glances nervously in his rearview mirror at Finger Puppet, who is clearly going to go through any time. There we go. There goes Puppet. Next is Thomas. Thomas will go through any second. If Hazel drops much more, I'm going to start watching Silvera instead, because my expectations are lower there. Hazel does seem to be able to secure 5th now, at least for a little while. We're coming close to half a tank of fuel remain. There we go, down to 6th. Brilliant. The tyres are hanging on in there. In fact, the tyres aren't really warm enough. A little bit more heat in the tyres wouldn't be a bad thing. Just to, maybe be a bit more grippy. Oh, look at that. Hazel there done another 2 places. It's a disgrace. Silvera now down to 13th. Perfect. Hazel into 9th. You fit a nice shiny new part to your car, and to add insult to injury, we're being beaten now by cars that are running soft rather than super soft tyres, and that's pretty ignominious. The good news is that Hazel has just overtaken Steve Mush, who is also dropping like a stone. In fact, there he go. He's gone. He's not even on the same screen now. That's how slow he's driving. Hazel at least is looking like he might want to be a little bit more competitive. We'll stick Silvera on a bit of a burn to get her tyres up some speed. Although, from the looks of it, we're going to be coming in around the time that we're running out of fuel, and the tyres will be well and truly thrashed by that point. Silvera's now also overtaken Steve Mush, who has somehow managed to drop to 16th place in the space of a lap from being in the top 10. Steve Mush there having an absolute nightmare. So Hazel seems to have made 8th place his own for the time being, but that's Megahertz coming up his trumpet right now. And Hertz is clearly on a charge as Hazel is now 4 seconds adrift of the rest of the pack as championship leader Espen Roe has gone barreling through there. I am keeping an eye on the fuel there, fuel fans, and we're going to bring him in on the next run. We'll put him back out on soft tyres, although do we need to? The tyres have got life left in them. No, we're not. We're going to stick him back out on super soft. Right? It's fuel that he's running low on. Right, excellent. Right, we'll top him back up. Look, can't I just say fill it up? Why not? Park condition, everything. The suspension's taken a bit of a hammering, but it's still fine. Everything else looks pretty good. Do we want to be chancy? Only a 26% risk. Chance it. Back down in 13th, however, and Silvera's actually got 2 laps worth of fuel still in the tank, which is nice. It's a question of how much is she going to have left when we pass the pit lane, and there's not a lot left in her tyres either, and she's now dropping like there's a problem. That's 3 places dropped immediately. I'm bringing her in. She might have to wait to get a pit stop. But there's clearly something going on there that is not working properly, and I can't have a driver losing 3 places quite so quickly. Suspension's taken a bit of a hammering, but everything else seems to be okay. But maybe the rear wing could do with a bit of a spit and polish. Given the risk of 33%, we'll take her in for a balanced pit stop, and hopefully she won't lose any time. As Hazel is entering the pit lane now. Sean Mendez also having come in. Actually, we've got a few drivers coming in now. Hazel leaving just as Silvera arrives. That is clockwork pit stops right there. Hazel's back out, fully juiced up, fresh tyres. Does he want it? That's the question. As we're looking at pretty much every other driver out there is going to be coming in fairly soon. The real question is, will having come in a lap early hurt us? Because obviously we're going to have to come in again, but then so is everybody else. So it's going to come down to exactly how much fuel we put in and when we come in, and whether we can capitalise. Having known that this was likely to happen, perhaps the smart thing to do would have been to underload on fuel this time round, planning an early start, knowing that we could hammer the tyres and potentially maintain position, if not doing better. For some reason, Silvera is now down in 19th. I didn't see exactly what went on, but it wasn't good, whatever it was. And she is losing time constantly. Silvera is just not competitive, is just not driving. I don't know why it is, but she has not come to this race. The only driver further behind than Silvera on the track being Swans Plastic. And frankly, that doesn't look like it will stay that way forever. So we are now going to focus on Hazel for the remainder of this race, unless Silvera suddenly has a burst of enthusiasm. Again, I'm not feeling it. She is clearly so hacked off that she doesn't even care anymore. Isn't interested in having her contract renewed, and isn't interested in competing to try and get the better car again. Silvera's just overtaken Steve Mush, but as mentioned before, Steve Mush is the worst driver in the league and has the worst car. Hazel now dropped to 10th. Now 13th place is the one we care about. It's 8 seconds further back. So Hazel would have to drive like a bit of a chump to drop that many places over the course of 8 laps. But we're going to keep an eye on the gap here, which could possibly be narrowing. And that's Hong Lao there in 13th. So unless we persuade Silvera to take out some of the fast cars, and it's the Reverend Plastic up front, I'm fairly certain. Let's go check here. It is the Reverend Plastic up front now. But it doesn't look like he's going fast enough to hold that position. Pretty exciting stuff that we're not going to watch as as we rejoin the race with Hazel. Now, if we expand here and we look at the strategy that different drivers are using, clearly we've got trying to make maybe a one-stop strategy for Mendes and Ruto. That would seem to be very strange. They've got the right tyres to make it happen, but honestly, conserving fuel is not a strategy that's going to lead you to the podium, surely. Anyway, Hazel now drops to 11th. The gap is still 7 seconds between 11th and 13th. 13th, remember, all important because we want that 200 grand. Silvera battling away there in 18th, but frankly, we're well past Carey. Steve Mush has come into the pits. Yep, that'll do it. That'll propel him up the leaderboard. I've no doubt about it. As Swans Plastic moves into 19th overall. Tyre wear's getting pretty bad, says Silvera. I don't know why. You're hardly doing anything. We'll ease her back a little bit more. It's not going to do her any good, but it's not going to do her any harm either. Right now, with 7 laps to go, including this one, I don't know how Hazel just overtook 2 drivers because we've got 2 in the pits right now. Intriguing. Tough to say what's going on there. We are going to need to bring him in, though. His tyres have pretty much had it, and his fuel's not looking great either. 7 laps remaining after the pit stop. We'll put 9 laps worth in, because as you well know, that's just total nonsense. Oh yeah, put in enough fuel for 10 laps. Yeah, I'm not sure in what car you're talking about there, but it certainly isn't this one. Right, there we go. Yes, I just told you to come in for a pit stop, Sunshine. Don't get snippy. We'll bring Silvera in as well because, you know, why not? There we go. Put some fresh tyres on there. Fill her up with juice. 8 laps, will that be enough? Since there are apparently 6 left afterwards. Yeah, sure, why not? That rear wing is on the way out, but it's got plenty left in to get through the race. What the heck? We'll put Silvera on a risky pit stop as well, because it's not like it's going to make a massive amount of difference. Right, Hazel's in now. He's coming out in 11th, which is okay. What does that give him over Mendes? He's 6 seconds over Mendes, but Mendes is a very fast driver. Hong Lau's still got to come in, so has Price, Henderson and Thomas. Hazel now has to stay out for the remainder of the race. Thomas and Henderson are coming into the pits right now. Well, they're too far ahead for Hazel to do anything about that, as Thomas drops to 4th, which was a bold move, but it didn't pay off. Now, meanwhile, for those of you following the top end of the championship, Hans 00 is ahead of Espen Roe by almost 2 seconds on the track. And those are 1-2 in the championship. Interesting. 00 it looks like he might even be pulling away. And Silvera is dead last. Great. I don't know what's going on with her. The car can't be that bad. Well, it can, but it isn't. But things are looking grim for Hazel as he's about to be overtaken not once but indeed twice. Although, good news, that's Megahertz and he's got a technical issue. Excellent. Which means we only need to be afeared of Mr. Hong Lao, who is a further 6 seconds back, 5 seconds back. Hazel there, having been overtaken by a car that's broken. Perfect. He's got, once again, the driver's just not feeling it. The week that we do well, we blow due to a poor fuel strategy, and then the following week where we absolutely nail the part setup in practice, and we're accomplishing effectively nothing in the race itself. 3 laps to go, and well, it's another disastrous week here at Bulldozer Power, unless Hazel can pull something off. Some kind of, horrendous accident at the front of the pack could lead to a slightly better finishing place, but it really doesn't look like it. I'm not really expecting to see anybody else come into the pits now, so there's not going to be any free and easy overtaking manoeuvres that way. and Hazel has to hang on as Hong Lao is now only 2.5 seconds behind. We're going to have to push the strategy buttons for all we're worth. Meanwhile, let's tell Swans just... Swans. To be honest, at this point, I'd rather have Swans on my team. I would tell Silvera just to hammer the hell out of the car to see if we can save face by not finishing it last. As Hazel is going to try and hold off Hong Lao for one more lap. The car's in good shape. We've got tons of fuel. We've got plenty of tyre life left in us. This is pretty important. Vanessa's trying to overtake Swans now. Feel like you need to fix some of your parts. Tough. What you need to fix is your attitude, Silvera. I don't know why you've driven so badly this weekend, but I'm not pleased. As Silvera takes 19th. In fact, at this pace, 18th might even be possible. How you doing, Hazel? I reckon you're safe. Let's go and watch Silvera. She's up to something. There we go. Takes 18th. Where's 17th? I mean, she's chosen the wrong time in the race, and as much as I told her to ease off a bit, she's really missed the point of the race where this kind of driving would have been useful. Go easy on the tyres. You're not going to get any further ahead, but let's not wreck the joint. Reverend Plastic's run out of fuel, but he did make it over the line. Cheeky. Hazel here is... oh well, never mind. I left that a bit too late. Could have potentially closed that gap. 13th. We made the objective, but it really, really is not a good weekend here at Bulldozer Power as Hans 00 comes away with the win. So absolutely everybody on a two-stop strategy there. There was nothing in it. We stayed out on the fastest tyres. It got us nothing, effectively. The Canadian Hazel managing to come away with 200 grand for his trouble. That's something at least. So there we go. 8 points for Hazel and a very mediocre 3 for Silvera. And given that Swans Plastic was demoted 6 places. Despite finishing last anyway. Goes to show you there's no point in having a cheaty part because you finish bottom anyway. In fact, it certainly would be in my case. Only finishing ahead of both the Predator Racing Group drivers who have been further... In fact, that's very harsh. The worst team trying to get a little bit of an edge by creating a cheeky part and now having that confiscated from them. That's got to hurt. So Vanessa drops a place in the overall standings. Can't say I'm surprised. It's no more than she deserves. As Hazel there stays exactly where he is, but closes to within 2 points of Chris Shaw for Archer BMR. 10 points adrift to Salmone Longo. But he's got to have his eyes on his teammate. If he can overtake his teammate, then maybe he becomes the #1 driver for Bulldozer Power next season. And there's what we already knew would be the case. There we are in 9th. Dragon Race Team China ahead of us, but 22 points ahead. We're not going to catch him. Yuya Itagawa, Bulldozer Power awesome, #GoTeam. I don't know why we're quite celebrating 13th there, but thanks. Stefania Shonlao, why did Bulldozer Power cross the road to get a new joke? Then Motor Racing Magazine with Jira Kagawa, Bulldozer Power found themselves in midfield. They'll be hoping for more in the future. We're hoping for more in the future. That much is certain. Sophie Richards at Central Sports Network. Fairly average performance for Bulldozer Power. That is actually pretty typical. 13th does seem to be our go-to position lately. So that will wrap it up for another thrill-packed race weekend. I don't know what's going on with Vanessa Silvera. It's telling me that Nicholas Hazel has got a new unlock. What's that? Nurse. Level 2. Car condition drops slightly slower. I don't even know what that means, but that's great. Oh, it says mechanic. His mechanic has released something that I really don't care about because that's a reliability unlock. I want performance unlocks, people. That's what we're after. Anything short of performance is not performing. Focus almost leveled. Adaptability getting close to leveling. But these changes now for Vanessa are really quite weak. I don't think we're going to see much change. It would be good, actually, if you could lock the stat that the drivers were increasing and charge everything into something else so you can make someone completely OP. I don't care how fit Hazel is. It's not really helping him do anything, is it? He's also incredibly smooth, but it's not helping him do anything. Overtaking, what he needs to learn is how to protect against being overtaken. Braking is hopeless. I'm out of here. Thank you very much for watching today. I've been Colonel Failure. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Chuck a like at this one if you enjoyed the race, and I'll be back very soon with the penultimate race in this Bulldozer Power season, where hopefully we can accomplish anything to put a smile on the faces of the fans. Thank you very much for watching. Cheerio.